Welcome back to my channel, Super Kid Corner. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Today I'm going to be reading a book called Horton Hears a Who, illustrated and written by Dr. Seuss. On the 15th of May in the jungle of Nool, in the heat of the day in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton. But who are you? Where? He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. I say, murmured Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of a dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be someone on the top of that small speck of dust. Some sort of a creature of a very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who's shaken with fear that'll blow in the pool. He has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him because after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. So gently, using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. Humph, humphed a voice. That's a sour kangaroo. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, humph too. Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person and that, why there never has been. Believe me, said Horton, I tell you sincerely, my ears are quite keen and I heard him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2, even 3, even 4. Quite likely a family for all that we know. A family with children just starting to grow. So please, Horton said, as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Just please let them be. I think you're a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. You're the biggest blamed fool in the jungle of Nool. And the kangaroos plunged into the cool of the pool. What terrible splashing! The elephant frowned. I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they. So he plucked up the clover and hustled away. Through the high jungle treetops, the news quickly spread. He talks to a dust speck, he's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on the flower. And Horton walked, worrying almost an hour. Should I put the speck down? Horton thought with an alarm. If I do, these small persons make up the great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't. After all, a person's a person, no matter how small. Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it. Speak up, please, said Horton. He put his ear near it. My friend, came the voice, you're just a very fine friend. You've helped us all folks on the dust speck, no end. You've saved all our houses, our ceilings and floors. You've saved all our churches and grocery stores. You mean, Horton gasped, you have buildings there too? Oh yes, piped the voice, we most certainly do. I know, called the voice, I'm too small to be seen, but I'm mayor of the town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you, it seems terribly small, but to us who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who, and we Whos are all thankful and grateful to you. And Horton called back to the mayor of the town, you're safe now, don't worry, I won't let you down. But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's necks. The Wickersham brothers came shouting, what rot! This elephant's talking to Whos who are not. There aren't any Whos, and they don't have a mayor. and we're going to stop all this nonsense. So there! They snatched Horton's clover, they carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Vladikov, a mighty strong eagle of a very swift wing, and they said, "Will you kindly get rid of this thing?" And before the poor elephant could even speak, that eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wing in fast flight, while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, "Please don't harm all my little folks, who have as much right to live as us bigger folks do." But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back, "Quit your yapping. I'll fly the night through. I'm a bird, and I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow where you'll never find it." And at 6:56 the next morning, he did it. It sure was a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. "Find that," sneered the bird, "but I think you will fail." And he left with a flip of his back-bottom tail. "I'll find it," cried Horton. "I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on my small speck of dust." And clover by clover with care, he picked up and searched them and called, "Are you there?" But clover by clover, he found that the one he sought for was just not around. And by noon, poor old Horton, more dead than alive, he had picked, searched, and piled up 9,005. Then on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last on the 3,000,000th flower. "My friends," cried the elephant, "tell me, do tell. Are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?" From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor. "We really had trouble, much more than our share. When the black-bottomed birdie let go and we dropped, we landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chair smashed, and our bicycle tires all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please," pleaded the voice of the mayor, "will you stick by us while we are making repairs?" "Of course," Horton answered. "Of course I will stick. I'll stick by you small folks, though thin and though thick." "Humph," humphed the voice. "For almost 2 days you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who never existed. Such carrying-ons in a peaceful jungle. We've had quite enough of your bellowing bungle." "And I'm here to state," snapped the big kangaroo, "that your silly nonsensical game is all through." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too." With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws whose help I've engaged, you're going to be roped and you're going to be caged. And as for your dustbag, that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezel nut oil." "Boil it?" gasped Horton. "Oh, that you can't do. It's full of persons. They'll prove it to you." "Mr. Mayor," Horton called. "Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove now that you're really there. So call a big meeting, get everyone out, and make every who holler, make every who shout, make every who scream. If you don't, every who is gonna end up in betel nuts too." And down in the dust speck, the scared little mayor quick called a big meeting in Whoville Town Square. and his people cried loudly. They cried out in fear, "We are here, we are here, we are here, we are here." The elephant smiled. That was clear as a bell. You kangaroo surely heard that very well. "All I heard," snapped the big kangaroo, "was the breeze and the faint sound of the wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voice, and you didn't either." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me neither." "Grab him," they shouted, and caged the big dope. "Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knots tight so it'll never shake loose. Then dunk that dumb speck in betel nut juice." Horton fought back with the great vigor in him, but the Wickersham bang was too much for him. They beat him, they mauled him. They started to haul him into his cage, but he managed to call to the mayor, "Don't give up. I believe in you all. A person's a person, no matter how small. And you very small persons will not have to die if you make yourself heard. So come on now and try." The mayor grabbed a tom-tom. He started to smack it, and all over Whoville they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles. They beat on brass pans, on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted great toots, on clarinets, oompas and boompas and flutes. Great gusts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called up and through the howling mad hullaboo, "Hey, Horton, how's this? Is our sound coming through?" And Horton called back, "I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't strong quite as mine. They don't hear a thing. Are you sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in the Whoville is working? Quick, look through your sound. Is there anyone shirking?" Through the town rushed the mayor from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping. But it wasn't enough. All this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building. He searched floor to floor. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mayor discovered one shirker quite hidden away in the Fairfax apartments, apartment 12J. A very small shirker named Jojo was just standing and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp. And the mayor rushed inside and grabbed the young trip. And he climbed with the lad up the Eiffelberg Tower. "This," cried the mayor, "is your town's darkest hour. The time for all the who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country," he said. "We've got to make noises in greater amounts, so open your mouth, for every voice counts." Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat and shouted up, "Yup!" And that yop, that one extra yop, put it over. Finally, at last, from that speck of clover, the voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean. The elephant smiled. "Do you see what I mean? They've proved they're persons no matter how small. And their whole world was saved by the smallest of all." "How true, how true," said the big kangaroo. "And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do? From now on, I'm going to be protecting them with you." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too. From sun in the summer, from rain when it's fallish, I'm going to protect them no matter how smallish." The end. I hope you enjoyed this book. So remember to subscribe and like for more books and adventures. Bye.